Final Fantasy XIV is well known for its main story, and while not every quest is considered exciting, the adventure itself is so grand that many people have taken the journey more than once. This is because the MSQ does a good job at telling a compelling story and pacing itself well enough to keep its audience entertained. But unfortunately, for many other characters in the game, that's also the MSQ's biggest drawback. Quite often, it's so laser-focused on the few characters in front of you that everyone else becomes forgettable sideshows. And even characters you speak with in the MSQ more than once are rarely fleshed out in their entirety. Because of this, I'm confident that I can tell you things that you didn't know about characters you've seen more than once within the MSQ. Or at least, characters you've seen in important quests. Gather around, my friends, as I test your knowledge. For today, we will be discussing 5 stories you probably didn't know about within Final Fantasy XIV. We'll start with a big one, both literally and figuratively, as we discuss the big Rogadin himself, Gosetsu Daito. Now, most people know about this jolly samurai. He's loud, loyal, and reliable even in the worst of times. But if you only judge him by the experiences you share in the MSQ, you'll never really understand just how troubled this man is. He has lost more than his jovial personality would ever let you know. Allow me to explain. Back before the Garlean occupation, when Doma was a free country, Gosetsu was a family man. He had a wife and a daughter, both of whom he loved more than anything. This is why he became a shell of a man when the Garleans invaded Doma. During that invasion, his wife and daughter were murdered, and he himself was made a prisoner of war. The loss of his family broke him, and for a brief time, he became suicidal, as he eagerly awaited death. He only vowed to live once more when someone visited him, telling him about the unborn Lord of Doma, the baby that would eventually grow up into the now respected Lord Hien. Gosetsu found a new purpose in life as he vowed to protect Hien, and one day see Doma made free. Of course, most people know the rest of that story. He became one of Hien's strongest allies and valued mentors. It's even fair to say that Gosetsu was like a second father to him. But remember, Gosetsu was imprisoned as an insurgent by the Garlean Empire. So how did he get free? What many people don't know is that he became a skilled mercenary for the troops of Garlemald for several years. Gosetsu does not like to talk about this, but in that time he gained a fearsome and brutal reputation as he would cut down anyone or anything that Garlemald directed him toward. As such, it's very possible that he has innocent blood on his hands. But all of this was to serve a greater purpose. Gosetsu played the long con for 7 years, gaining the respect and trust of the Garlean leadership before disappearing without a trace. And then, you know the rest. It's shocking to think that someone with such a calm, collected, and even energetic personality already carried such heavy burdens on his back. From losing his family and then having to work for the very people that killed them, it would drive most people mad. But this is why the loss of Yotsuyu struck him so much harder than it did anyone else. To him, it wasn't just some mad woman that died in Castrum Fluminus. Gosetsu lost the chance to father a daughter a second time because of Garlean cruelty. The second in our list is the confident Elies Pool. Now, many players simply remember her as that one lady I need to talk to at the Jeweled Crozier in Ishgard more than once. This unfortunately does her a great disservice, as she's actually a pillar of Ishgard's community and has likely done more for the country's economy than some noble houses. But did you know that the reason for this is because Elies has at least 60 years of mercantile experience under her belt? She has been schooling people in trade likely before Lolorito even knew how to count coins. This is the reason why you end up talking to her anytime you're sent to the Jeweled Crozier. Her network is far larger than the MSQ ever tells you. Not only that, but she isn't working alone either. Unfortunately, Elies lost her husband early on since he was an Ishgardian knight during the Dragonsong War. But after his passing, the two daughters they had together would grow up and learn everything their mother had to teach them. Now both of her daughters are experienced and powerful merchants as well. This family is a financial powerhouse, and it's not uncommon for the noble houses of Ishgard to actually turn to her for help with trade agreements. If Elies and her assets were to suddenly disappear, Ishgard's foreign trade would suffer a noticeable blow. So, if she ever gives you advice when it comes to money or running a business, you had better listen. She's got enough experience to make even the most shrewd merchants of Ul'dah blush. Next up is a character that has largely taken a backseat because of their sibling. I speak of the white dragon known as Vidfolnir. When compared to his sister, Vidfolnir, he practically doesn't exist in the story of Final Fantasy XIV, which is a shame since he actually has a compelling narrative behind the scenes. It's kind of funny when you observe him as a character, because despite the fact that he has little to no importance in the MSQ, his actions throughout the game make Vidfolnir look kind of lazy. Sure, Vidfolnir is responsible for looking after Annex Shrine, a respectable position, but one that is mostly uneventful since this location is a place of peace. Meanwhile, Vidfolnir has flown back and forth across the churning mists, killing any of Nidhogg's brood that overstep into Hraesvelgur's territory. There are multiple fates in the churning mists where you actually get to see him in action, learning more about his responsibilities as you go. He's quite the powerful dragon indeed, but this isn't by chance. Once upon a time, before the Dragonsong War, Vidfolnir was one of the dragons that actually became close friends with those early Elezen knights. He soared through the air with a knight on his back, and during that time gained a sort of chivalrous code, which is why you always see him flying headlong into danger in order to protect others. Not only that, but he enjoys testing himself and challenging those he deems worthy to duels, similar to a gentleman's contest between knights. Even the Warrior of Light can challenge Vidfolnir. However, did you know that he found a new Elezen knight to spend time with? While he wouldn't gain any new companions during the Dragonsong War, in recent times that has changed, as Vidfolnir has actually found a kindred spirit in Sir Emmerich. Indeed, Emmerich and this dragon have fought side by side on more than one occasion already, reminding him of what it was like to fight alongside his old friends before the Dragonsong War. As such, Vidfolnir has not let this chance slip away. The two of them have become very close friends, and the White Dragon now has an Elezen knight to spend time with once again. Following up the majestic dragon, we've got someone who's kind of an idiot. I speak of the Roganin known as Gokuyama Shiratama. I bet you've seen this man from a few places already. The Kugane Castle Dungeon and Blue Mage quests, just to name a couple. And sometimes I hear people ask why the heck he keeps suddenly reappearing, as he seems to be a no-name merchant. And if I'm being honest, that observation isn't entirely wrong. Kageyama was born into an extremely wealthy family that earned its name in the selling of soy sauce. He is the firstborn son, and as such was afforded many privileges. Simply put, he's spoiled. Given his family's influence and wealth, he became rather famous in Kugane for the extravagant parties he would throw, as well as all the other rich people he would invite. He's famous for being rich. But that's not all. He has a younger brother, and it's his brother that has taken up the family trade and became a master in all things soy sauce. So while Kageyama is having parties, his younger brother is actually the one making the family proud. So with all that in mind, how did Kageyama get involved with the affairs at Kugane Castle? Simply put, it was a whim. I'm not joking, he helped fund the invasion just because he thought it would be entertaining. Afterwards, when he was caught and put in jail, he paid the Bakufu an undisclosed amount of funds to set him free. So, if you didn't know why he keeps reappearing despite his repeated failures, it's because his superpower is being born into a rich family and then finding crazy ways to spend that money. The last NPC we'll cover today is a Keeper of the Moon Mikote named Korabna. This has got to be one of the most interesting yet underutilized characters in the entirety of Final Fantasy XIV. She appeared in the early days of A Realm Reborn nearly a decade ago, and since then, Ko has been giving players a weekly challenge for modest rewards. However, the person you're talking to when receiving this quest is not Ko. The entity you're speaking to is actually the spirit of a long-dead Allagan Archmage, Noah. Indeed, this is the same Noah who taught Doga and Une everything they know. But how did this happen? Noah doesn't like to talk about it, but it would seem that their soul was trapped inside of a unique crystal during an experiment gone wrong. It was inside this prototype crystal that Noah's soul would sleep for thousands of years before being discovered by Ko. Then, upon the crystal's reactivation, the spirit of Noah found purchase within the Mikote, and now this young woman has two souls inhabiting her body. Many players may know about this, but did you know that this has turned Ko's life completely upside down? Noah's personality is the complete opposite of hers. Ko has always been known as a very shy and soft-spoken researcher. Meanwhile, Noah is very loud and confident as they're eager to see what the world has become in the wake of the Allagan Empire's ruin. Noah has randomly assumed control of Ko's body on more than one occasion. Sometimes it's to teach someone they find incredibly ignorant. Other times it's to provide ancient Allagan insight. And sometimes Noah just wants to go out drinking with people. This has left Ko in a near constant state of fluster and embarrassment whenever she gains control of her body again. On a regular basis, Noah's extroverted personality clashes with her introverted self very often. However, despite Noah's behavior, they've proven to be very useful, and alongside Ko, have helped the Sons of St. Koinok with even more research. It's impossible to tell how long Ko's body will be able to contain two souls, but until then, one can only hope that the two of them continue to get along, or at the very least, Noah doesn't leave Ko with a massive hangover to deal with the next morning. And that, my friends, are 5 character backgrounds and stories you probably didn't know about. However, I'm curious to hear how much of this you may or may not have known already. If you did already know one or more of these stories, then let me know in the comments and tell me how you felt upon learning the truth. But if you didn't know about any of these side plots, then I hope you have an understanding of how detailed the characters in this world truly are. If you like this video and wish to see more, don't forget to subscribe for weekly lore content. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons: Papaya Cyan, Rovakis, Potato, The Yellow Couch, Sage Mouse, Vavalisoma, Sizani, Tyradox, and Net, as well as the other supporters you see on screen. I had a lot of fun putting this video together, and I hope to see you all again soon. So, until then, stay safe, my friends.